Friends, I have such an interesting research that I want to do with you in this video with my oracle cards, and it's going to be about malnourishment in Western society people. 4 twin flames on the twin flame journey. How about that? Like going towards harmonious twin flame union, the consciousness state. You would want to, I wanted to, and beyond it also, I wanted to feel nourished. I wanted to have a way to deal with my body and food that would feel healing and totally integrated in this lifestyle of doing inner work to make the true twin flame come true in your actual daily life. I had always had this inclination that I desired that I can remember from my early 20s. That's like 20 years ago when I started to get going in the twin flame journey, but I actually wanted to say my spiritual journey, with going to my spiritual teacher for the first time and doing everything there and stuff. And yeah, I really became aware that I wanted to have a way to take care of my body, or like, aren't there things that are so supportive that you can give your body, that you feel good, that you take care of yourself, support yourself through food or nourishment or taking care of the body in some sort of way that would feel complete and embracing in doing this journey, in doing this inner work, that it would feel so loving to take care of yourself in that way while you do inner work, which can be rather confrontational but also peaceful, creating more peace through that. And over time, I found that because it didn't exist, I tested out a whole lot of things. And now we have that in the Genesis 1 plan that I will also share in one of the months in the Twin Flame year group course that is going to come up real soon, that I open that. And it will be one of the monthly themes that we also see, can work with. But yeah, today I want to talk about malnourishment for actually like you and me, like Western society kind of people mostly, that desire that want to not feel malnourished, but feel supported and full and filled and having all your vitamins filled up all the time and whatnot. And feel supported on that level on the twin flame journey. And yeah, have Harmonious Twin Flame Union be the end of malnourishment. And how does that work? Is it even possible? I know I already told you that I invented how to do that and I did it on myself, but nevertheless, we're sort of going to ask the question, is it possible? What is that, Divine Mother? Can you help us with the oracle cards that I selected to learn more about what that is about? Because isn't it interesting, this given, as far as I'm concerned, that we are malnourished? Although we live in societies mostly in which, food is not so difficult. You just go to the store and the store is often pretty close by, and you have lots of convenient options that are not overly expensive, and you just buy them, you bring them home and you eat, right? So what's the point? Well, there is a lot of points. And one of them, for instance, is how I experienced my childhood, but maybe you have your version of this example. How I experienced my childhood is with a lot of narcissistic abuse. And that is a going over your boundaries. It's an invasion of your psychological boundaries by the parent that wants to use you for their needs is one of the ways in which that expresses. And what happens is that you create from, because you're a child, so it's like developmentally you grow into it and you start to think this is the norm, because that's what happens with children that grow up in a certain environment. They start to think that's the norm because that's all they know. That's why raising is a thing, right? But if it goes upside down, then abuse is also an actual thing. That is very real. And because it is characterized by going over your boundaries, this translates on all levels in your being, on all levels in your body and energy and soul and spirit and everything. And one of the levels it translates into is that your immune system becomes weak, because that's also like not a wall anymore, but that boundary is broken through. Same thing on another level, broken boundaries. So you might develop all kinds of symptoms from a weakened body. And one of them is also that you're going to experience like a weak health of your gut and your gut bacteria. That was for me, for instance, very much the case. And I don't want this to be a video in which I completely explain all of this, but just to give a little bit of an overview of what this can mean, right? And your gut health is, of course, very important for your mental health, your emotional health, your brain health, everything. And it is also the place, of course, where you're taking this, like extracting the nourishment from your food. And when that's like going wrong because of the weakened gut health, you also don't really take advantage of your food, even though it is there. In my case, also, there was not real great food, which was part of the narcissistic abuse, that there was not enough food, but not at all because there wasn't money. There was money enough, but because of priorities and control. They needed to control you through food, and there are all kinds of strategies that you can do so that you control people through food. And one of them is feed them not enough, for instance. And that was, of course, all very subtle because, plausible deniability. That's, of course, a huge thing, of course, also of narcissistic structures. And there you go. So, in general, besides my examples that you may benefit from and look at your case, there's also, of course, the broader stroke of that. The quality of our supermarket food has diminished intensely since supermarkets came into being, in fact, in early 1900s. The quality started to go down and down and down. And the last decennia, that has, of course, escalated pretty much into so many what I just already called convenience foods that are stripped of their natural integrity, that our body recognizes as real food. And it has lost that integrity. So from that side, also, no matter what you buy that we in our societies deem normal, quote unquote, is not going to really nourish the body that doesn't recognize it as food anymore, because it's a constructed food instead of a natural, wholesome food. And that is also often, of course, fully impregnated, I would almost say, by all kinds of artificial additions that only make it better in the idea of it, but not in the biological reality of it. And that's, of course, also going on. So all these kinds of combinations can make you actually like a weakened whole that is like malnourished. And even though on the consciousness journey that the true twin flame journey really is, because you are progressing while you do the actual true twin flame inner work towards the consciousness state of harmonious twin flame union, and then the source nourishment comes through to you, to your soul, and you will be completely building yourself up there on the soul level from that, together with your true twin flame in your union. But it does also have a repercussion on the physical, of course. And that is where you can have a look at, oh, maybe it translates into getting to know that I'm pretty malnourished in a sort of Western society sense, that there is food, but it's not of quality. There is a body that pretty much functions, but actually also pretty much lessened the function that it used to have because of the malnourishment. And you can start to see that through approaching your physical side, your food side, with a supportive attitude, etc., that you might feel so much better, in which you can combine with the coming in of, through the twin flame inner work, the inner union light. And then it becomes such a beautiful experience that you just approach from more sides. And that is so supportive, and that's what I said, what I always wanted. And I have completely found it now. Now, we don't have time in this video to go into what that all is and what the solution all is and whatnot. But we are going to research if this is true, if Divine Mother thinks through my oracle cards this makes sense or not. And we're going to find out more about it. And I feel already guided to go to a card deck. So that's where we're going to start. And I will just be guided to go from deck to deck until we feel complete in the story that Divine Mother wants to tell you through me. So let's see. This is the golden tarot with this beautiful golden side. And let's see what kind of card wants to come out and what that tells us. Okay, this one, King of Cups. So that is about combining your emotional side, the cups, and all the water, which is also a beautiful, this ocean, a beautiful symbol of your inner feelings, the heart's feelings. Combining that with the male element, the king instead of the queen, the king, which is some sort of like not the most natural seeming connection. So we want to have elements combined that are not of the most logic to combine. So that's like, I want to combine my soul union light that starts to come in more and more because I do the true twin flame inner work with the food, the Western society, but still malnourishment, and the resolve of that. And I want to combine that and start to feel at home with that combination. And step into that boat or ship. Should we say ship? Step into that ship. Make that one ship. Or make the body the ship that is the beautiful, healthy, well-functioning vehicle for the union consciousness that is being created at consciousness level when you do the twin flame inner work and go to your harmonious twin flame union state of being. Love it. so unexpected, you're like, what kind of card would come out? And then it's this, and it's so perfect, and you're like, how was that possible? Always like that. And then we go to Egypt, because why not? Maybe we also have boats on the Nile there, or something else. Moon Eye. Mystery School of the Left Eye of Horus, the Female Path. Do research to a fear or emotion that blocks you in your growth. A fear, a feeling, or dream will become clear. Idea for an exercise. Listen to the voice of your unconscious and train your intuition. So I think this is true because it is the body, the nourishment of the body that's we're talking about is the female side. It is the unconscious side. It is of the journey, because like the symbolically male side, the male mystery school entrance, this is a female, or maybe you should say divine masculine, divine feminine. The divine masculine entrance to the mystery school is consciousness itself. It's very direct. It's invisible. It is directly connected to the divine. It's only that, nothing else. And the divine feminine path is more about the energy, the body, including all of that, emotions, dreams, etc. And that is the part of the mystery school that I stand for, that we do here. So that is also why I talk about food and such things, and energy and sexuality and meditation and things like that, because that belongs to that sort of mystery school instead of only consciousness strict. That's it. While it points to the same and it leads to the same. So for sure, that is also the side in which you can read that there are certain emotions that are blocking you. And they are then actually blocking your nourishment. So that's on the emotional side. True. Which is always interfering with the idea of physical food and nourishing yourself, logically. For instance, one of the ideas is that is around a lot is that, well, a lot of people have a sensitivity for gluten, and it is in bread, and bread is a widespread phenomenon of daily food that seems unmissable. And it tastes really good, it's crispy and whatnot, and it's even sort of addictive in quality almost. But when you have a gluten intolerance, you seem to be able to not able to be eat. You can't eat it anymore. Sorry. And physically, you can see that bread is not bread anymore. And it's in everything. It's in pizzas, in cookies, in health bars, whatnot. And normal bread. But in the supermarket products that have bread in it, they're not bread anymore. They're bread-like products because they don't have the right yeast. Some decades ago, the yeast was replaced by a yeast that was potentially, I think it was like maybe quicker or something, but it was not fit for human consumption. And that's what all the bread has nowadays. It's not fit for human consumption, the yeast in it. And because it's the yeast, it is directly interfering in your gut bacteria, because that's where the yeast is in your body. It's the wrong kind of yeast. So it's not so strange that we have all these problems and these I can't eat bread anymore problems, and I have gut problems. Bread is not bread anymore in very many other ways as well. True bread is made with yeast that is fit for human consumption and only has water, flour, and salt. And the yeast is made out of water and flour. So there are no more ingredients than that. And because it is fermented, the dough is fermented. And the yeast was fermented because that's your sourdough starter. It contains very little gluten and the right kind of yeast and no other ingredients. So you create a bread that is completely different in all ways, and it will be recognized by the chemistry of your body as bread. It will have very little gluten to begin with, and you will be able to eat it. But that is the physical approach. You also have the emotional approach. And the emotional approach is that people that have a gluten intolerance, and then you can look that up, you can make these connections, like what is going on with these people. Just like when you hit your toe, it's also, it has an emotional meaning. Feel it, think about it, go deeper in it. And these are also general patterns. So what is going on with people that have a gluten intolerance? They have a father issue, emotionally speaking. And when that father issue gets resolved, you won't have a gluten intolerance anymore. So this is how these things all work together. And how does that work with doing the twin flame inner work? Well, you actually do the twin flame inner work first, always. And then you will see that these kinds of emotional cleanses are part of what will be the result of it, such as resolving your father issues. You will also start to become like, you start to wisen up in what you are going to eat and the way your food is treated and whatnot. And that's beautiful. But, you know, you can also listen to the tip that food can be approached in a supporting way that is fitting for when you are in Harmonious Twin Flame Union. And you can already start doing that now, you know, with trusting this new information and just starting to implement it. That is also how it is supportive for the twin flame inner work, because then you already, let's say, start to eat the right kind of bread, so that like your caused by father issues gut health problem is already half resolved, at least, because you're now eating the right thing. So it is, in that sense, it is supporting the twin flame inner work that you still might need to do, but nevertheless, there you go. It'll become clear, says the card. So there you go. Things will become clear how this works together when you start doing the twin flame inner work. You start to listen to these kinds of ideas and start to implement them. Things will become clear for you through your experience. And now we do the life purpose deck. I don't know, it feels kind of life purposey, this topic. End of malnourishment on the twin flame journey. So which card? Okay, this one. Freedom. Freedom. You are free to choose. You're free to choose for these kinds of support solutions. You're free to choose the things that support you instead of the things that don't support you. You always surround yourself with things that you have chosen in the end. And when you start to see it like that, you can see like, oh, I have chosen all these non-supportive things in my life, relationships and foods and whatnot. And you can choose again. Oh, now I'm going to choose supportive, people around me that support the twin flame journey, the real one, with the real tools, etc. Instead, and I got another one, school. The answer you seek is about schooling. Well, yeah. These kinds of experiences are a school in itself, right? Because through making conscious what's going on with your health, for instance, or with your gut health or whatnot, you start to realize things. It is like a school in itself. This is also the Divine Feminine Mystery School. And both of them is what we do here. So this reading is part of that too. And this is the Divine Feminine Mystery School of the universe, updated for Twin Flame Union. And maybe we get from the Divine Abundance cards what we're gonna learn there. I have this idea. Well, this flipped out, so this is what we're gonna take. Your path. So your path is going to be to go to this Divine Feminine Mystery School and learn all these kinds of supporting topics for doing the twin flame inner work and ending malnourishment through food and body ideas, healing structures, is one of these things. Dear Lord, help me trust that there's a plan far beyond what I can see through my fears and illusions. That's true. You need to trust that. And that's for all the things that, all the topics that are in the Divine Feminine Mystery School for you, that will open the year group course real soon, because they might seem new and strange to you, or they might seem like, oh, but that's superfluous because I already have a meditation practice, I already have a sexual life, I already have a business structure. But now there is a way to approach that afresh and to connect it directly to the twin flame inner work core that is divinely guided, so that it becomes accessible from Harmonious Twin Flame Union consciousness. These topics, other topics are healing, money, relationship, creativity. All these kinds of topics will move through, and body and health is one of them too. Dear Lord, help me trust that there's a plan far beyond what I can see through my fears and illusions. And that's why I have made that course over the past 2 decades, 3. And that is because you can't see yet where you're going, but because I went first, I have a clue about where you're going. And I can show you around in a couple of essential life topics in how that is for you, what that will be inside the consciousness of Harmonious Twin Flame Union. Divine flow. Eventually, one sublime desire takes precedence over all others to follow the Tao, the divine flow, at all costs. That's true. That's why we do that, to follow the divine flow and to apply that to all kinds of life areas that will be overflowed by source anyway, but we will just, like prepare you for it and order it a little bit for you and give you practical ideas how to implement that. The Native American cards, the Stag 7, and a shoe in the foreground. Let me see for a moment. In the booklet, unconditional love. Just as unconditional love is complex, so too is Deer's gifts. In some creation myths, she is said to sacrifice her life so that the world may come to life. The antlers are strong symbols of strength, power, and protection. Because they are shed and regrown every year, they also represent the cycles of life, with a season for everything. Deer also symbolizes gentleness, both emotional and the idea of walking gently upon the earth and with other creatures. Hunters would pray to deer, asking for a successful hunt, and promise only to take what was necessary for life. Moccasins, those are the shoes here, remind us of the long pilgrimage that is life, our long journey towards the full expression of love. When strength is required, be strong. When forgiveness is required, forgive. Pay attention to what is needed and let that guide your actions. Gentle strength, unconditional love, knowledge of the earth, the cycles of life. Well, we're trying to make unconditional love practical by talking about the end of malnourishment. And unconditional love is certainly the answer to the end of malnourishment. Unconditional love is treading your path. With kindness towards yourself and patience and understanding the path of life with a shoe. And supporting yourself. Support yourself. So it also doesn't matter in what kind of area you want to implement this unconditional self-love. It will end the malnourishment of unconditional love in that area. That's what it comes down to. Malnourishment is about not letting the flow of the divine come in so deeply and invite it so deeply into your actual physical daily life that it can influence concrete things such as your health, your body, your food, your way you deal with your house, with your groceries. I don't know. Concrete things. You need to let the divine inner love penetrate your life real deep to make that happen. You need to allow for that. It's not already done for you. You need to say yes to it. You need to give it the permission so that it can move into these places of your life, into these life aspects. And we're now going to get an energy point of the 9-point energy system that I created with Divine Mother that will show us how to do that. This is energy point 1, the symbol of it, which is a ball, and it stands for the earth itself underneath your feet, underneath your body, underneath your personal energy field, as the foundational element underneath you that is always here, that always carries you, that always supports you. It's the earth itself. It is the energy underneath you. It's the ball in which your soul rests. It's your presence pressing down on the earth. It's your space on earth. So it's about taking in your space in the world and letting the you that is essentially the source energy, because that's what you are. You are unconditional love. You are the divine flow. To let that in so deeply that you are it in everything that you are, and you take in the space with your body to stand for that. So it becomes very grounding. The end of malnourishment is very grounding. It's very much planting you there. Unconditional love on the level of Harmonious Twin Flame Union is supposed to be concrete and physical and manifested, and not some sort of invisible dream in a faraway cloud. And now we're going to look into the Oracle of the Roses, grandmothers. Think about your roots, perspective, trust the interwovenness of life. Well, and weren't we just talking about rooting yourself, being present on the earth? And the grandmothers represent that force. They pass on life in multi-generations. They root you into the social structures of life itself. And they're, of course, a lot of the times the ones, socially speaking, the grandmothers that have cooked food for the children, for their grandchildren, the children of the next generation. Their grandmothers, right? Their grandchildren. So cook for yourself as if you are your own grandmother. What about that? Tip of the day. You are your own grandmother. Get that pot. Stir with love. Oh, that just touches my heart. I'm just crying now. All right, I'm just breaking over that. That's what I do. I cook for myself like that. And you can tell why. See God and serve Him in every living being. Yourself in the first place. All roads lead you home. You can't miss your destiny. Wow. So that feels pretty complete for me, I think. Cook for yourself. Do it to support yourself on the twin flame journey. And enjoy that. Feel your cells being nourished instead of nourishing an idea of the mind or of how the body should look somehow, but nourish the cells, nourish how your body actually recognizes food with the ancient food techniques of the grandmothers. That's true as well. It's very literally true as well. And that's how you serve yourself and you serve you going towards your true twin flame. It is such a gift. And every cell of your body will thank you. Yeah. We're going to get like one last answer. I have this feeling. Okay. An angel answer. We didn't have that yet. Oh, this one moved. Big, happy changes come from it. Right. Thank you, Divine Mother. Big, happy changes come from allowing yourself to end malnourishment as a support on the twin flame journey. That's what we want to hear. That's what we want to experience. So there you go. This is really shiny. She is shiny. She is healthy of spirit and of body. And the light can pass through her so well. We can all see it. And she doesn't need to hide, not in body, not in spirit. And that is the coming together of the two forces that you want in the twin flame. Because people are called on this journey to make come true not only the potential of this person exists and I feel it in the heart, but they want to make it come true in the flesh, in living together, in a romance, in a marriage, in a family, in a mission business, or whatever feels fit for you. So it combines the deepest spiritual you and the most superficial cells of the body. And that is the nature of the twin flame journey, to have both together. And that is also why it is so relevant to have the end of malnourishment also happen on this journey, because it supports one of these key pillars to make come true what you desire. That the key pillar of making it flesh, right? Which is always completely interwoven with making come true the deep spiritual place where it comes from, where it originated from, because they are deeply connected. There is no other way. So feeding the cells, ending the malnourishment there does in fact contribute also to ending the malnourishment of the deeper soul and letting that divine architecture that you are as a twin flame heal on the inner level too. And then they come together. They grow together more and more, the spiritual and the physical, and then it's just one. And it just starts to unfold. And that happens in Harmonious Twin Flame Union. guaranteed. So I hope this helps, and I hope to see you real soon again in the kitchen. I mean, in my next video. Love from Petra.